This is my dream. The Dalai Lama once said, "Take into account that great love and great achievements involve great risk, and that's a risk I'm willing to take." This is my legacy that I want to leave behind.
So a few days ago, one of my good friends told me that the goal in life is to not get people up the ladder, but it's to get people on the ladder. Today I'm going to talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In 2009, I left to go backpack around Europe with my brother. I lifeguarded that entire summer. I saved up $2,000, and I figured that was enough to last me. Well, we were traveling, and he said to me, I said to him, "You know what, Jason, I think we should just be in one country for 2 days at a time, so we can see all of Europe in this entire month that we have." And he's like, "Cassie, why would we do that? I mean, we don't get to see the culture or the heritage of a place. That's just the wrong idea to do." I was like, all right, maybe that makes sense. So we continued traveling, and we were on our last leg. We were heading into Switzerland, and really trying to get this train. I really needed to get to Switzerland that day. So I looked back at my brother. He was just kind of slowly walking, taking his time, on his, backpacking kind of trip. And I was like, "Jason, we got to go get this train." And he's just like, "It's okay. We'll get it. I'm like, "I'm sorry, I love you, but I gotta go get this now." So I sprinted, got on the train, and as I sat down, I said to myself, "What did I just do? I'm the worst sister ever." So I just left my brother in Europe somewhere, and I was on a 5-hour bus into somewhere in Switzerland. So it was then that I realized that traveling alone is something that I need to do. For me, traveling alone is how I find myself. It's how I find purpose, and although I love my brother, it just wasn't working out. So anyways, we decided to part ways. He ended up heading back to the United States, and I decided to just book a one-way ticket to Turkey. So from there, I spent the next 2 years traveling across four continents, 23 countries, and sleeping in train stations, sweeping floors, whatever I had to do just to get by to afford that next ticket. I made it happen. I landed prestigious internships on my own, and it was a really fulfilling experience. But after two years, I ran out of money. So I ended up getting a corporate job, 9 to 5. I felt very unsettled in this job. It wasn't the life I wanted to live. But one day after work, sat down in front of the TV and I saw a bunch of naked people running across the screen. I thought to myself, you know what? That might be something that I'm interested in. So I filled out a casting application for the show, which I'd never done before. And sure enough, that was me. That's what I did. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a show called Naked and Afraid on Discovery Channel, and you have to survive 21 days naked in the wilderness. We were in the Panamanian wilderness, and you kind of have to survive with only one tool. I chose a machete, and I was on a special where I was with 3 other teammates. Usually it's just one other person. For the first half, I was just with my first teammate, and they said, we have a special surprise for you. We're like, okay, what could this be? Great, we're just, we have to do an 8-hour hike barefoot in the middle of the jungle, like starving, dehydrated, sleep deprived, and what surprise could we possibly get? We stand over the edge of this waterfall, look over it, and see 2 other naked jungle people just roaming around. I mean, my partner was ecstatic. He was like, yeah, we get to spend the remainder of the 10 days with 2 other naked people. This is going to be great, Meanwhile, if you just see the look on my face, this is not something I was interested in doing at all. I learned that I'm a very kind of introverted person in a way, but I wanted to try and work as a team. The more that I worked, the more that I kind of went through Naked and Afraid, the 21 days, I realized that I just wanted to do things on my own. I wanted to find my own food, I wanted to find my own water source, I wanted to start my own fires, have my own shelter. I wanted to do all this stuff on my own, and I didn't want to accept the help from any of my other teammates. So when they found a water source, I wouldn't drink from it because I wanted to find my own water source. It was all about what I wanted to put into it. And yes, it was definitely a little bit selfish, but I at that time, I didn't realize the importance of accepting help from others. That was a huge revelation for me, and I realized that my fear is asking for help and accepting help. That is one of my great fears, and I learned that through the Naked and Afraid experience. So flash forward, I decided to kind of start a new life, headed out to California, and I was thinking to myself, what can I do? What can I do to bring purpose in my life? How can I create a life that brings happiness, a career, passion, excitement? What can I create of this one life that I have? I don't want to sit in an office. I don't want to go do what I want to create something that's very important to me that also helps other people. So I thought back to this time in high school when I was thinking about when I wanted to travel the entire world, to every single country. I thought back to when my brother and I were in Europe, and I wanted to travel to every single country in Europe in the month that we had. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna plan this out. I'm gonna plan my trip around the world. So I quit one of my jobs. I bought a wall map at Staples. Took the picture on the seaweed. You can see the seaweed kind of on the side. It was on the beach. But I created this wall map. I sweated over it for a month and just planned my route. After looking at it, I realized that I had this passion. I had this passion for travel, and I had this pursuit, and I need to make it happen. So it didn't occur to me. I thought to myself, how can I make this happen on my own? Am I just going to go travel the world on my own? What's the purpose in that? How can I actually create change? How can I enhance our world? How can I inspire people if I'm just going to go on this trip on my own? So it took reaching out to people in order to make it happen, to nonprofits, to supporters, to celebrity supporters, to friends, to family. And I'll never forget the very first person I reached out to for this expedition was Randolph Fiennes. He's one of the world's greatest living explorers by Guinness World Records. He's broken tons of them. He's actually the first person to circumnavigate the world along its polar axis. I mean, he's incredible. It's like any adventurer, any explorer, any traveler, you want to have him on your side and you want to have him as a supporter. So I emailed him and I swallowed my pride. I needed to ask for help in this situation, and I emailed him and he said he didn't have the time. He was very busy, had a lot of commitments, and it just wasn't going to happen. So I took a step back and I said to myself, this is just like, this can't happen. How can this happen if the first person I contact isn't even gonna want to support me on it? So I took a week, I sulked in a corner, and I thought to myself, how am I just gonna let this go? Like, am I gonna let this passion, this trip, this like month that I planned this extravagant, crazy idea, am I just gonna let this go over someone who said that they wouldn't support me? Or am I gonna go in tenfold and just really, really make sure that I get the support from people and make it happen? So again, I swallowed my pride. I emailed him again. I said, all I need is just your support on my website. Sure enough, he emailed back and he said yes. And ever since then, it's been a snowball effect. Person after person, nonprofit after nonprofit, even celebrity supporters and friends and family have gone on board with it. I mean, I planned this trip out and I was just like, this is awesome. I'm gonna do this trip and I'm gonna do it for world peace. And you know what? I realized, well, by golly, I can break a Guinness World Record as well. So I realized that all these things were going to come together, and that's what it was going to be. So this is Expedition 196. I leave July 1st, and it's an international expedition where I'm going to travel to all sovereign states in record time. I have to be 3 years and 3 months, the previous record holder. But more importantly, I'm doing so for world peace, and I'm going to be meeting with ministers of tourism in all sovereign nations, as well as mayors of towns and cities and villages of all nations as well. And I'm doing so through the International Institute of Peace through Tourism. So because I was able to swallow my pride and really face my fear of asking for help and getting help from people and having so many people come on board with me for this project, for this legacy, I was able to see myself on the front page of my local newspapers in Connecticut. And it really made this experience real. It really made this dream that I had back in high school, and I thought, this is just crazy, crazy idea. First of all, I'm a female. What female is going to do this sort of expedition? Only guys can do it. In high school, I thought that to myself. But you can do whatever you want to do. There's no one should ever tell you that you can't do something. Never. And this is a prime example of following your passions and following your dream and actually seeing the results of it. So next month, I'm going to be speaking at the IIPT World Symposium. It's held in Johannesburg, South Africa. And I'm going to be speaking in front of the UN Secretary General for Tourism, as well as other key figures. And I'm going to be honored as the IIPT World Ambassador. So I'm going to be traveling as a global citizen, but this symposium is crucial towards my takeoff for my expedition. It's where I'm formally announcing it. And the IIPT is the nonprofit that has just been with me throughout this entire expedition planning for world peace. So this is my pursuit of happiness, but what I want to do is try and enable you to find your passions and where you find your happiness, where you find your excitement. Breaking through that barrier and embracing your fear, turning your fear into something positive, and really using it as fuel to further you in your career or in life or in happiness, I think is extremely crucial and has led me to where I am now. One of my fears is flying. I've never really been great at it. And I mean, what's one option to get over the fear of flying? Fly all over the world, maybe. But what I'm doing actually is I get in a little 4-seater Piper aircraft once a month or so, and I fly. And it helps me get over this fear that I will, be able to fly around the world. It just helps me get over that fear, that hump. So I encourage you to really, really use any fear that you have in order to fuel your passion for following your dreams. And in regards to your passions, there's a way that you can find them in three. You have to ask yourself 3 questions. One question, actually. What gets you excited in life? So just think 3 things that get you excited. It could be ice cream, it could be sports, it could be shoes, whatever. 3 things that you get super excited about. These are your passions, and these are what you need to follow. These are what how you're going to inspire people and how you're going to get excited about doing something in life. My passions are travel, nature, and fitness. I thought to myself, what can I do with these 3 passions? What can I do? Only you can come up with the answer. Only you can come up with your true solution of how this is going to make you happy. How these 3 pieces of excitement are going to create happiness in your life. So, I just want to say that this is an extreme passion is very important, and following your passions is important. Embracing your fear is also important, and I just want to say that the importance of it's not okay. It's not about getting someone up the ladder. It's about helping them on the ladder, helping them to get on the ladder. So I hope I've helped you get on that ladder today and start climbing.